Mando and the Imperial Test, The Final Confrontation Part 3. Months had passed since the Vornis base and the Imperial shuttle incident. Mando and Grogu traveled through the remote moons of Zypharian seeking quiet, but the galaxy had other plans. Reports of a coordinated Imperial strike force had reached Mando via an underground network of smugglers. The surviving scientist had recruited allies, upgraded stormtroopers, and even built a small fleet to capture Grogu. Mando tightened his grip on the Razor Crest's controls as Grogu peeked over the dashboard, ears twitching nervously. "We're not going to make this easy for them," Mando muttered, eyes scanning the starfield ahead. Grogu cooed softly, tiny hands floating toward the console, already preparing to help. The fleet appeared on the sensors, sleek ships forming a blockade across the hyperspace route. The scientist's voice boomed over the comms. "You can't hide forever, Matt. The child belongs to the Empire." Mando's visor flared. "Kid, let's show them they're wrong." The Razor Crest dove through a canyon of floating asteroids pursued by laser fire. Grogu used the Force to subtly nudge debris into the path of pursuing ships, causing them to crash in spectacular explosions. Mando weaved the ship expertly, dodging blasts while firing selectively at drones and lightly armored fighters. They reached a massive asteroid base, the scientist's new fortress. Mando landed silently, cloaked in shadow, Grogu peeking from his satchel. The base pulsed with energy, alarms blaring. Troopers patrolled in tight formation, unaware that two tiny but deadly intruders had arrived. Inside, the corridors were a maze of reinforced metal and security turrets. Grogu floated forward, small hands guiding Mando around sensors and laser grids. They reached the central control hub, where the scientist stood waiting, flanked by enhanced stormtroopers. "You've grown bold," the scientist sneered, "but boldness will fail." Mando's hand rested on his blaster. "Maybe, but we have something you'll never control." Grogu raised a tiny hand, glowing with Force energy. In an instant, the turrets jammed, stormtroopers froze, and the scientist's console short-circuited. Sparks flew, alarms blaring, and the facility shook violently. The final battle was a mix of cunning, stealth, and Grogu's small but powerful Force abilities. Mando used the chaos to disable the main power grid, sending energy surges that disabled all remaining ships outside. The scientist tried to flee with Grogu, but the tiny Force wielder floated him gently into a containment field, immobilizing him without harming a hair on his head. Mando grabbed the scientist's datapad, erasing all records of Grogu's DNA experiments. "You won't touch him or anyone else again," he said firmly. The scientist slumped, defeated, powerless against the Mandalorian and his little companion. With the base collapsing, Mando and Grogu sprinted back to the Razor Crest. Explosions echoed behind them as they lifted off, the asteroid fortress crumbling into molten fragments. Grogu cooed triumphantly, clutching a small glowing crystal as if claiming it as a trophy. High above the void, Mando looked at the stars. That should be the last of it, at least for a while. Grogu yawned, snuggling into his satchel, tiny hand resting on Mando's arm. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers, but for now, they had peace. Mando guided the Razor Crest into hyperspace, the stars racing past, leaving destruction and chaos behind, but carrying two heroes who had outsmarted the Empire not through sheer firepower alone, but with courage, cleverness, and a tiny green hand full of Force. Grogu cooed softly, a small sound of victory and comfort, and Mando finally allowed himself a rare moment of calm. The hunt was over, and the child was safe. End of the trilogy.